Welcome, our viewers. This is Emmanuel Owire, and you are on the Situation Corner. Today, we are discussing the role of young people in the post-election period in curbing violence or any form of uprising. Today, you'll be happy to know we have a very important guest. Our guest is a young person who is a leader in the National Unity Platform. And I would like to give him an opportunity to say hello to us. Welcome.
Yeah, hello, Emma. I'm by the names of Obedgiu Samuel. Many call me Strike Machine. I am the deputy.
Why do they call you Strike Machine?
Strike Machine is a name that bred for a long time. First of all, when it came back then, I think around 2017, when I was of course, let me say a warlord in Makerere. We call ourselves warlord because when you command and have at least when you call for a strike and at least 5,000 students jump into the street or follow you directions, you just know you have control over the students' fraternity or you champion the students' cause. Of course, you cannot just come and thug it from anywhere. Many came, some people called themselves revolutionary sons, some what and whatever. But me, my name was given Strike Machine.
So you were in charge of organizing strikes?
Yeah, series of demonstrations starting from not all strikes that I organized. Of course, as an intellectual, of course, I scrutinized which strike I could go for and all that stuff. Like the first serious strike that I think I involved myself and campaigned for, and I was fully behind, was the age limit strike, the Toji Kwatako era. That was the first and hottest strike that I ever participated in. However, there were some which I participated in, but were not that much serious before, like what happened in the age limit era when we were fighting to protect the constitution of Uganda from being raped or from being manipulated, for which at the end of the day, we did our part as students' fraternity, but still our efforts actually went almost in vain because what we were fighting against was achieved by the people who were interested in.
This is very interesting, and we want to actually dive into it to really understand what it means. But before that, could you kindly tell us what's your role in NUP?
Yeah, in the National Unity Platform, first of all, right, it came a very long way. As you know, in the very short time, we upgraded from a pressure group because of the, public critics sometimes also help shape some happenings within a society or shape individuals' lifestyle to fit a certain context within the society. So you remember we saw a scenario whereby there was a lot of public critics, where would they go with the people power and all that. And secondly, we did not know who was really truly with us in as far as the people power area was concerned, because everybody came from wherever directions they came from, the caravans joined. But later when we saw that it was important to formalize the organization, we embraced what we call the National Unity Platform. So when it came on board, now you saw people, others going, others joining, and
Let's step back a bit from your background as a Strike Machine.
Very well.
We want to know, as Strike Machine, what would you determine to be a strike? And when you go to the streets, what are the activities the people you're going to the streets with or leading be involved in?
One, you need to understand that before going for strikes, personally, as an intellectual, I am civilized in whatever way. Sometimes when you see me resorting to the issue of demonstration or running for whatever kind of things that happen in streets, which sometimes I might not talk of because you've seen or you've witnessed, and other media houses have always published, we always try to write things, to formalize things before we go to street. By the time we go to street or we go for a radicalism, we would have failed to, we would have exhausted other options or other avenues, but we would have seen that.
What are those options and avenues?
Like we write petitions, like you remember during, I think that time when around I think 2019, 2018, July 2018, they effected what we call the social media tax, the OTT tax, whereby President Museveni brought, actually the thing was too much, actually not only 200 shillings. It was after me writing a petition from Makerere in my capacity. Then I was first of all, Makerere had a complex leadership position. started with the FDC speaker, Makere chapter. Then I was a right-hand man to Obedgiu, of course. Later I was a GRC, Guild Representative Councillor for my school. I later developed and upgraded into, I was appointed the Cabinet Minister for Culture and Mobilization. In mobilization, you mobilize for anything, for so long as it's for the cause of the students, or for the students' interest, including even strikes, of course, that you've been seeing happening. So, like in
and it has nothing to do with the Mugati party.
It has nothing to do. You know, like all my strikes, if you are to follow critically, all the strikes that I've involved myself in as a student leader or as a concerned youth, I've always been objective enough, like to see what exactly I'm fighting for and explain.
You mentioned social media talks. In the university, what were those issues that you were striking for?
Like in the like in regards to the social media attacks?
No, in the universities, what were the issues that caused you to lead or mobilize for a strike? And is the strike in regards to the same way as what we call a demonstration? We wanted to know the nature of activities within this particular strike. Let's say on day A, B, C, D, you are going to the streets. What is your mode of strike? What are the activities you're engaged in to be able to tantamount it or make it to be a strike?
One, I've been in this field for a long time, in fields of activism. I call it activism, not strike, in other words. So, like for instance, me, who could be having right intentions for going to street to battle for some cause, you find there are some wrong intention, people with wrong intention. They're not there to fight for the cause, but they actually they're opportunists. They scheme an opportunity or an avenue for them to execute certain ill kind of objectives that they have in their arts or in their lives that we've always been seeing, like in a scenario whereby we find when I called for strikes, like when one time I called for strikes in Makere, like they don't age limit when we were striking. Our cause was to ensure that the constitution was protected and was not raped the way it was raped, manipulated. But you find there were some people who involved themselves in a perspective whereby they were reading in the neighborhoods. They went for chapatis. They were reading chapatis of these small retailers, the kafundas. They go to bars, they raid what. But that was not exactly our cause. Even during campaigns, you've always been seeing in a scenario whereby we have when we're doing open air campaigns, whereby we move around the vicinities, the communities of Makerere, where students reside in hostels. We've been seeing scenario whereby even students who are part of the campaign team go and raid. It is there. These people are not avoidable. They're part of our society. We found them and they will always be.
Are they part of the people demonstrating or they are masqueraders?
They are masqueraders. Because, like for instance, when we are going for a cause, we say that this is what we shall do. It's unfortunate that in Uganda we had never had a peaceful demonstration. Sometimes me personally, I don't want to go violent and begin burning tires or what and all the stuff. That is not what I do. Though sometimes when I'm so pissed, I end up doing that. When the extreme goes to the extreme, we always prefer to go in a perspective whereby we go like we march peacefully, because it's constitutional, by the way, for citizens to go and demonstrate, especially when they're dissatisfied with a particular happening within a society or event within a society. So it's constitutional and it's not avoidable. And I do not believe that as even comrades in Faraja Digital TV or Faraja Management, they would still also agree with me that it is constitutional and it's a right that anybody who is dissatisfied with a particular thing happening in society should also go and express their grievances in a formal and in a civilized way. No demonstration, civilized demonstration is very different from this one, burning tires, what and all the stuff. The last time you saw President Chagulanyi coming to street was when he came with the other cliques. You saw he was still arrested and was still grabbed and taken to. Instead of police protecting them and leading them to wherever they're going to, actually they were arrested and all taken to.
That now takes us to, then you've touched on a little bit of what we want to talk about in the beginning. However, because we have seen National Unity Platform categorizing themselves as a peace, non-violent movement, right?
Yeah. And
of course, we remember the arrest of President Chagulanyi.
Yeah.
And we remember the uprising that came in nationally. I would like that you talk about that, but also what I would love to know more is what is the party doing to curb down violence or violent extremism amongst the young people, amongst the party members and Ugandans at large? What measures have been put in place to ensure that there is peaceful engagement and peaceful sensitization and civic awareness and peaceful advocacy and activism to be happening in these areas? Or if not, you can still be able to share with us.
One, I would like first of all to make you know that as you are citizens of this country, we've been following that we came a long way as National Unity Platform. Today we are called National Unity Platform, not just because we are called like that. Yes. We started as People Power. And as initially I did not try to clear to you what my roles have been in the party. I've been serving at the National Executive Council. I've been serving, and I still serve as the Deputy National Youth Coordinator for Northern Uganda. We have one National Youth Coordinator, that is Zake Francis Butebi, Honorable Zake Francis, who is the MP and is the overall. Yes. So he is being deputized in the various regions. So the deputizing him in Northern Uganda is me. Two, if you go to the regional executive, I'm the regional coordinator, regional liaison officer, to ensure that we do equal distribution I'm the one in charge of those things, party materials, whatever, across. Then now, if you come to a perspective of, let me say, like how we are advocating for this peaceful and all those stuffs. One, you need to understand that NUP has a category of people, all categories of people involved. Initially, when we were People Power, we had 4 wings, 4 pillars. One, actually 5. One, we had the mainstream. Mainstream, that is the sober and the experienced people in politics. Those like the MPs and all those stuff who were affiliating to them were the mainstream comrades. 2, we had the Women League. The Women League, headed by Flavia Nakalude. Flavia, she was the one heading, who is the current elect member of member of Parliament for Kasanda, something like that. Then we had the informal sector. The informal sector, these are people who, like Bakola, Emilimu, Jabijo Akari. These people who do the dirty work, and let me say, like they have lost hope. You see, like I was telling some people that, like there are people whose future, people whose future seems to be, they feel their future has been stolen by some selfish individuals. Yes. Like for instance, if I have my, you come and evict me out of my land or my homeland, yet I have the land titles, and you chase us out of there, you sometimes end up coming to the streets of Kampala or the cities to survive. Not that we want to come here. Nobody wants to come and stay in the suburbs of the cities. Otherwise, everybody wants to be developmental in their communities. That is informal sector. Then we have the youth wing, whereby I am, and it brings mostly young people who are graduates, let me say, the officially unemployed youth. Yeah, the youth wing brings such that we build ideas, basing on what they think we can do better as as a movement or as a pressure or as an organization in as far as building a nation is concerned, in their contributions and all stuff. Then we have also the institution. We value so much institutions of learning, so we have also a ham for that which runs the institution. So you find we had very many pillars then when we were in People Power. So when we were upgrading into an organization or formalizing the movement into an organization like National Unity Platform, all those people were incorporated in the system. You understand very well that we have not had any delegate conference or what, but that is what the party should be, I think, thinking about, of having said that we do elections and do other reforms in the policies and all those of the National Unity Platform. So, basing on the perspective that we came at that all that long, that means we have all categories of people in the system, in our system, and who could have had different intentions while joining. Like one thing that has destroyed all movements or all whatever in Uganda is across the world. The intention for which somebody joins a particular organization is the end game. If you join for the purposes of fighting for the objectives of the organization, putting it primary, that would be good. If you join for your own selfish, like these opportunities, they're all over. So they could have come to, such that they're seen. That's why you had a lot of defections during the time when we were like doing our campaigns. There were a lot of defections. We had somebody running from NUP to NRM, somebody running from NUP the other side. Like, like I always say, those are political nomads. One, those people, I asked one time media when they asked me about the defectors, I asked them, NUP is not even 1 year old. Where were those people before joining NUP? They could be just going back home to wherever they came from. You get it? So the issue is not about defectors from NUP or answer, but the issue is what ideology do we stand for? Now, when we talk of a peaceful part of it, post-election moments, first of all, you need to understand that this society is a complex society. It's not only NUP. Peaceful environment, when we are talking about peace, justice must come first before peace. Because if there is justice, peace will automatically prevail. Nobody would want to live in unfair or unjust society. So, in other words, what are the key players in a society in as far as running day-to-day affairs of the society, both in the security-wise, both in the political, both in the public offices? What are they doing? Are they doing the same thing, let me say, advocating for justice? Or are they really doing, because like when there is injustice, that means there is already a weakness or a weak institution which is not implementing that perspective. As you've always told my colleagues, that there are only three things that has made, let me say, like most sub-Saharan African countries the way they are right now. One is institution. If the moment we don't have firm institutions, we will always collapse. There will always be problems.
But the question now is that as the party, they must, maybe, I don't know, we need to know, are there specific strategies that have been placed to just ensure that the brand of being a non-violent movement is being put in place? What are those strategies that you're talking about? Exactly, specifically, what are those strategies?
First of all, one, let me say, like on the 22nd, I believe you saw a letter which emerged out, which of course, according to me, I preferred it to be a covert letter. But it is, of course, media forced certain individuals due to emotion to release those letters out. One, we're trying to see how after the elections, because since we stated that we are in a struggle, me, I'm not in I might say I'm in the struggle, but I'm a staff within the struggle, so I might be having some privileges apart from, you get it? And that is, of course, in everything. People who give direction should be, but we are in a struggle as citizens of this country. And now, if you finish an elections and elections do not work well in our favor, we could have been, whatever happened in the elections, I don't want to talk about it, because I can't talk about. You saw for yourself the impunities or whatever. But what we've been trying to do was that, one, Kyagulanyi, the president of the National Unity Platform, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, wrote a letter to all his counterparts. I saw to Patrick Oboy Amuriat of FDC. He wrote to General Mugisha Muntu. He wrote to President General of the Democratic Republic, the Democratic Party, that seeking for a meeting so that we collectively, as National Unity Platform, as we say.
Have they responded to that letter?
Right. I think we got a feedback from one or two. Of course, they should. If at all they do not have any other thing in that, anybody who is civilized enough should respect dialogue. If we all advocate for dialogue, like we are advocating for now, like when you see Kyagulanyi writing to them, they should accept the dialogue and swallow their pride and come out. Because at the end of the day, they're not serving themselves. There are people who follow Democratic Party who believe in it. There are those who believe in FDC, Forum for Democratic Change. There are those who follow Muntu and believe in ANT. And there are those who follow National Unity Platform. But all these are citizens of Uganda. It shouldn't mean that if National Unity Platform believers should not have dialogue with it.
How many presidents of the respective political parties have responded to that call?
Honestly speaking, by the last time I met with the President Robert Kyagulanyi, I had not yet gotten any of the feedback. But I believe by now, because the meetings are scheduled to begin commencing, I think, this coming week. So by today, the close of business, I think there are most of them, or all of them could have responded to, because they acknowledge receiving of those letters. So we're still waiting for that feedback, and we believe they will respond positively and show up for the dialogue, such that we see what we can do, like jointly as the,
So one of the strategies has been to call for dialogue.
Very well.
What is the other strategy, or what are the other strategies?
Another strategy is one they've been trying, like you see, we've been trying to ensure that we do more of advocacy. Advocacy in such a way that we do media-wise. I will talk about media because I've been one of the person who has been embarrassed by Facebook. Yeah, I must say that I've been really embarrassed, and I'm still suffering the problem of like the punishment, illegal punishment. I say illegal and an unfair punishment of Facebook.
What exactly happened with Facebook?
Facebook, when I was doing, I always do advocacy. I do bloggings and I write articles based on the status quo.
Which you post on Facebook.
Very well. So Facebook, what Facebook instead did, Facebook blocked me for 30 days. For 30 days, it started on the actually it's happening, it's reopening me back. I'm resuming posting or commenting. I cannot comment, I cannot like, I cannot post, I cannot do anything with Facebook. I just want to see. That is what I see.
What did you post? And is that post there or Facebook took it down?
Facebook took it down, but I still have the post.
Okay.
Because my post was that, let me import. Let me say, the ignorant ones are very lucky, because they don't know what is happening within the country. To them, everything is just normal. In quotes, strike machine. That was what made Facebook took me out, and I'm out up to now. It is really unfair. They did not explain to me. I did not abuse anybody. Actually, I stated what is right.
What is your username on Facebook? Is it Strike Machine?
Yeah, Strike Machine. That is my page. Yeah, I blog there, and I do not want to use any other name apart from that, because that is my mark. Yeah, they call it a mark or a log.
But also there's been discussions about specifically the challenge of cyberbullying. I think we've seen different people commenting that when you come online and you have a divergent view that is not aligned to Noop, you will have a lot of backlash, a lot of attacks from Noop supporters or sympathizers and so on. Is there anything that is being worked out to do that, in line of talking about strategies? Now here, your account, we know very well that because of that, many accounts for the ruling party sympathizers also were blocked, and the government also retaliated by closing down Facebook through UCC. However, now here's your story, personal story, that it's not just on the other side, but even your account has been blocked for 30 days. What are you doing to stop that radicalism, cyberbullying, and that harassment that is happening online? Because if this is a free country, then that means that freedom of speech, freedom of voice should really be eminent and coming in. If they are doing that, don't you think you're doing exactly the same thing maybe the other side is doing?
One thing you need to know, that if we really portray that there is freedom of speech and we are in a civilized society, there is a saying that one man's meat is another man's poison. You might say about this, but if I disagree with you, that doesn't mean that I hate you or I do not agree with you. And there is a sentiment that has been created within the public that many people think all these abuses, all these like clash within social media is on the National Unity Platform supporters or clashing NRM. You need to understand that I told you exactly that Amuriat got how many percent, what percentage of votes in the just concluded elections. Patrick Amuriat, FMDC, they got some good percentage. Those are people who believed in him, and they do not believe in Museveni, by the way, or the incumbent. There are General Mugisha Muntu got his votes. Those are people who believed in him. So all those people, you know, the problem is that now what we are working towards, and what all opposition political key players in this country should work towards, is trying to drive the force towards the right direction. Because if we have clashes, even there have been several times where I've been seeing NUP guys having clashes with the DP guys, and you know, just like I told you, any political gathering, like in as far as Uganda, whereby education has been not really embraced and empowered. You see, most of these people who talk, they are expressing their grievances. They don't have any other platform to express what is in their hearts. Anywhere, freely. If you go for a peaceful demonstration, you're arrested. If you talk about this, you post something, you're arrested. So now you only react to what is.
And the same, if you have a divergent view from the other people, you're blocked.
Not really. They shouldn't. You see, Facebook is now entering into something that they shouldn't enter into. You get my point? Because if by now Uganda is having clash between sectors, between the citizens. You should play a fair game. Issues of coming to block people because of I did not even see any importance in blocking these NRM bloggers. Let me say people who defected from NUP or from whatever and joined NRM. These bloggers who association who were crying that Obedgiu, you hear Obedgiu and events, you hear people like Katuash Bag, there is Alexis, Full Figure. I did not see any importance in blocking them. Those were their views. You see, if you want to tell me how to think and how to live my life or how to talk, that one is real dictatorship, and that is what we are fighting. If Facebook wants to play a part in dictatorship, or is another organization that wants to begin exercising dictatorship in this country, we should also understand that goal.
Strike machine. The point is this: you find that most of the, for example, let me give an example on Twitter. Someone will come and give a divergent view. Maybe one of the viewers will say something that is contrary to the mandate or the beliefs of NOP. And at the end of the day, you will find that their account will either be reported or their account will be reported, blocked by individuals, and then Twitter will be forced to respond by suspending the account. Facebook, the same thing. A post is reported, commented on, and people, it will be the same. So imagine if someone posts something wrong and a drive comes out and say, guys, we need to block this person, we need to report this person, and over 600 people are doing the same thing. Of course it will be blocked, the person will be blocked. And then maybe in some instances we have seen it happen online. Someone posts a divergent views to the party or even any other area, and then they will be shamed all through. And then the question comes, is there a fair ground for these engagements and discussions? Yes, we do understand that the fair ground has not been around. However, and that's the reason why you find that NOP has been really coming up to try and fight for whatever you're fighting for. But the question is, if this is happening in the name of the party, this is happening in the name of the struggle and the fight, don't you think you are missing out on the gist of changing minds, changing hearts, than actually using violence or using harshness or bullying?
Now I understand your concept.
And has that issue come to your attention other than in this particular interview?
It has always come to my attention. Not only me has been blocked from social media, not only very many people, comrades of mine have been blocked, and very many the other side have been blocked. Let me say people have been blocked, including even President Donald Trump recently was blocked out of Twitter, was it? Yeah. Facebook, Twitter, and all those stuff. So blocking, I think what I just say is that sometimes Twitter shouldn't really rush, all these social media accounts shouldn't rush to act on a certain perspective of society. They need to first understand what is the constitution of this society, the composition. Because now Uganda in a society whereby people do not first will understand the constitution, or some people act because they have got an opportunity to act. You know, like for instance, do you think, right? We say the election wasn't free and fair, and according to USA statement, the election wasn't free and fair. Very many people know that the election wasn't free and fair.
The sanctions were based on the fact that
violations of human rights and
so on, yes.
Yeah, but also they stated that the election wasn't free and fair. In what I saw it, I read that article very well, that piece of information very well. But you cannot, I cannot say that NUP is the one mobilizing for the Chagulanyi told people you mobilize for the riot on the day when Museveni is swearing in. That one I am telling the truth. He has never told me to do that. Of course, I would have done long time in northern Uganda, and of course, for so long as it was serving within the constitution of the country. Now, in a perspective whereby you mobilize people, you should mobilize people for a right cause. Now, when we say,
do you think it's right for the mobilization to go ahead against the swearing in of the president or even the elect MPs?
I did not hear any mobilization against swearing in for
There was a police a press conference that was happening, and the campaign was called Tajja Kulaira. Yeah, and I think you've heard about that.
Very well.
So the question is that what would be your message out there to the young people? What would be your message there to your fellow party members of NOP, and how best can they be able to approach this inauguration period in a much more safer and better way?
One, I need to first give the fellow youth across the country hope that all our dreams will come to pass. We still young people, we still have a long way to go in this world here. And I strongly believe that nobody under in this galaxy is meant to stay forever. People will come and go. We've seen more than worst people coming sometimes back. We've heard stories and they've gone, they've not stayed for long. Let's not engage ourselves because of desperation. Let's not take desperate actions which will backfire into our lives, whereby you find you stay behind bars for the rest of your lifetime, or because you could have been caught in a perspective of living. Because now, in a perspective whereby you see military now involved in it, so you had the military joint press conference and they were talking seriously. That shows that they are prepared for it. We've lost very many lives now. I say many lives. Of course, in a revolution, that is not many lives. Because we have seen revolutions that happened in other places. Like I was once with this gentleman, Ivan Marovich. They lost thousands of people, lives. But for this short time, I do not see that young people should really engage in a perspective, in terms something that is going to expose their lives to the worst danger.
So as we conclude, what is your specific message to those young people? And to also your fellow party members and fellow political actors and the government?
One, let me start with the government. Government should this time, first of all, establish institutions and avenues for citizens to express their grievances in regards to anything that they feel they are dissatisfied about. Because they are the ones we've put in positions to ensure that they represent us. So if they are failing to represent us, we should have avenues for expressing our grievances. A smooth avenue which doesn't involve any. Then two, I think everybody should play their role. Well, military was not trained, these security personnel, we entrusted them with the entire guns. Constitutionally, we entrusted them, the power belongs to us. So we did not entrust them with those ammunitions or whatever, those powers to bully us. We entrusted them such that they can help protect us and serve the interests of this country and protect and defend the constitution, not individuals. That is in the perspective of military and security personnel. They should ensure that at least this time round, from now onwards, first of all, even they should release those political prisoners, because it was their rights. They were practicing their rights and did not have anything bad that can harm or cause any kind of insecurity within the country. That is to the government. To fellow young people, I don't think whether violent is the way now to go in this 21st century. The reason why civilization is coming, we should also learn to go along with the happenings within the environment.
Are you trying to say that strike machine has evolved from striking to now more civilized means?
I am always civilized, but I think we've not exhausted all options or all avenues for us to go now for riot or for... Because let me say, I was always asking, you see, my ideology, me joining National Unity Platform, me joining opposition, me being all this time in opposition, I have very many personal preservations that I always think of. One, I am not issues of Museveni must go. Let me ask you, what if Museveni says that today I've gone and now I bring this, let me say, like for instance, Kasule Lumumba is now the president of Uganda. Will Uganda be satisfied? Because if the issue, we narrow the problem of the country from the bigger context into just Museveni must go, or we are removing a dictator, it's really a very bad thing and a very risky one, because we might have somebody, even if today the person we call a dictator, whom I personally believe is a dictator because he doesn't have time for issues of, so if he goes, will the problem with Uganda be sorted? That's one question that I request every opposition leader, almost like president or any stakeholder within the opposition should think of. Is it our struggle now about Museveni must go, or our struggle is about Ugandans deserve better? We need reforms in policy. Because me, honestly speaking, I studied Greek. I'm not a politician. Actually, I'm volunteering or I'm fighting for something that I believe if I fight through politics, we might achieve as a country, but professionally I must be serving the country agriculturally, and I will not remain. I'm in a struggle from today, tomorrow, and next year.
So what are those issues that you would feel would be best to exhaust, especially even in this coming inauguration, in terms you're giving your message to the young people? What are those other options to exhaust and to focus on, and to make sure that maybe instead of resorting to violence, what can be done by the young people and by the opposition to be able to ensure that their voices are heard and their issues are sorted?
One, let's first of all understand that election is done. An election will come again in 2026. It's unfortunate that I'm worried. The other time I made some predictions that 2021 might be the last time Ugandans directly vote for president because of the way I see things. I have my own reasons. That's why I stated that, and I still believe those are the right statements. And but when I say election is done, we cannot continue lamenting throughout like that. Young people should go work to survive, because if you're fighting, you must fight also to see tomorrow. If you think you devote your entire life, let me say, like every day you wake up, complain, lamentation actually will not help. We should go practical. What we can do right now, we do advocacy. Advocate for release of the people who are behind bars. That is one thing that I'm doing, and I will continue doing it. They should be released, because those are political prisoners. They must be released. Then two, let's also, because you see, I've always been talking to these key political players in the society, in opposition wing. Issues of populist politics, we should leave them. Let's go ideological, whereby we should begin first of all mentoring young people. You see, most of these young people who are running around mad, like, I say, like sometimes some certain people run like a goat on it. They run like so the issue is not about that now. They must mentor young people to be partakers in tomorrow's dining table of decision making. Because most of these politicians, let me say, they've mothered many, but they've mentored none. They've fathered many, but they've mentored none. And that is the biggest problem we have right now. For student youth to resort to violence and demonstration, just know that these youth lack something in their lives, that they need to be directed or given like a package of knowledge by people they believe in or they follow. The moment you see people like Mao going astray, doing whatever worst thing, nasty thing, just know very many young people who believe in him, who look at him. Everybody is an icon in the society. So people who believe in you, when they see you doing some weird or dubious thing, they will follow it like a sheep following a flock. Sheep, when one sheep is leading the road, the others will follow. Even if he's falling in the pit, they will continue following. We don't want that blind following. We want young people's mind to be open and guided accordingly on how to act and when to act in a society.
Okay, thank you so much. What's your last statement as we close this particular? My last statement is that I call upon to the young people. I call upon you. I call upon you to really re-strategize and prepare yourself for politics to come, because this might have not been your time, but your time is coming. For so long as we still live, struggle so hard to survive and live for 2026 or for other level of elections. Do not be misled by anybody or issues of peer influence, because my friend is doing this. You must digest something within your mind or within yourself before even going to spit out or to blow out some kind of cause of action, because they backfire. Be guided within the constitution. What is constitutional, do. What is unconstitutional, desist from it, because you will suffer the consequences alone as an individual. You must know where you come from before knowing where you want to go. To counterparts in government, especially like security personnel or wherever, I still call upon you, let's provide a conducive environment for interaction. You are not our enemies in opposition. You are our brothers and sisters. You came from our families to whatever positions you're holding in the security or in whatever position you're doing. So you also have a good environment or rapport with the environment in which you come from, which is us, of course, in opposition, the majority. So I think that is brief what I can tell the listeners and what I can tell the young people outside there. I call upon you to remain always calm. Everything will work out well. Let's pray also. Prayer is something good, though I do not sometimes believe so much in those, but prayer is good. You must pray. And it's important that we pray. God will open a way when there seems to be no way. He works in a way we cannot see, and He will, Well, thank you, Samuel, for your time on the show. And I'd like to thank our viewers for staying with us and watching with us. Well, as we have all heard, you have a role to play. Samuel is doing advocacy on issues that he feels he can handle during this period of time, and things like releasing of the political prisoners and advising many young people to ensure that at least you're able to go back and re-strategize and focus on what it is as it is. However, there are questions like the issue of social media that hasn't been answered, and I'd like to ask all of you if you could be able to put comments in this particular section and ensure that you are able to contribute to this discussion. Once again, I'm Emmanuel Wawire and you are on the Situation Corner. I would like to thank you for tuning in, and I would like to encourage you to, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Faraja DTV. Thank you.